It has happened to all of us from time to time. We are driving down the highway when something so unusual, so odd passes us by and we do a double take. What is that? Who made it? And sometimes even, why would you buy it? Hi guys, welcome back to MIA Luxury Cars, and here are the top 10 strangest cars ever made. Let's get started. Number 10. Mercedes-Benz F-015. It's easy to look back on the past and laugh at their ridiculous idea of what future cars would look like. But we're not exactly all that advanced ourselves, as you can see from F-015, or to give its full name, Luxury in Motion. You just know this one's going to be rough. In 2015, Mercedes-Benz unveiled their own view at the future with the F-015 Luxury in Motion, a pod-like vehicle that is designed not to be driven. This car is particularly intended to be self-driving and is made up of a lounge-like cabin of 4 rotating seats and extra indoor entertainment. It's basically a private jet for the road. A luxury put-your-feet-up kind of the ride that allows for complete relaxation without the stress of road rage, although there is a manual option if you particularly like road rage. While it's an excellent idea for the F-015, it's nowhere near being a feasible creation. The biggest problem is that there's just no way to make a network of refueling stations that could sustain them, which makes the whole idea of the car pretty pointless. At least it looks nice. Number 9. General Motors Firebird III. What was it like with the 1960s and the cars that looked like spaceships? It seems just about everybody was looking to get into a spaceship race in their own unique way, even if that meant designing a fundamentally weird car like the GM Firebird. The Firebird was built in 1958 and was particularly notable for the fact that it broke a whole lot of stylistic rules established by one of the most legendary General Motors designers, Harley Earl, with basically no chrome and absolutely no parallel lines. The Firebird was a complete anomaly with the General Motors style, and that's precisely what it appealing to the general public. Unsurprisingly, the Firebird 3 did not exactly become a must-have car of the 60s, but it definitely looked pretty great. This was not just a car but a modern twist on classic space-age vehicles, complete with an unusual approach to the inner cabin, 2 glass domes surrounding the driver and passenger. That's probably more hygienic, but it does make a conversation impossible. Number 8. Number 7. Learjet Limo. To spend $5 million on a plane that cannot fly may sound a little bit crazy, but don't worry, you're right, it is crazy and impractical. That's also part of the appeal, oddly enough, because what's the point of money if you're not willing to spend it on something that can't be used for its primary purpose? In 2018, designer Dan Harris publicly debuted the end results of 12 years of hard work for the Learjet Limo by repurposing the fuel age of the wingless Learjet into a groovy-looking street-legal limo. Harris believed that he could kickstart a whole new line of business, a private traveling nightclub. That's right. The outside of the limo says party time, but the inside also says party time in a different way. Obviously, all of this party time depends entirely on your budget. If you don't have $5 million lying around, you're probably going to have to get the bus. But while many will look at the limo and think it's tacky or silly, it's definitely unique and a business model, and one that Harris turned into a franchise. Millionaires really will throw money at anything. Number 6. Upside down truck. We've all thought of it. Trucks looks great, but what if they're upside down? Well, dream no more, friends. Mechanic Rick Sullivan made your fantasies came to real life. Over 6 months, Sullivan used his $6,000 budget to gather materials for his masterpiece, including a 1995 F-150 and a 1991 Ford Ranger. by placing the F-150 pickup body over the top of the 1991 Ford Ranger. Sullivan managed to construct a very unique and entirely street-legal upside-down vehicle. Again, we're not entirely sure why, but it's pretty apparent that the guy was very proud of it, and why not? It's definitely something you're going to notice, especially if you're a highway patrol officer looking for a car accident. Unsurprisingly, the upside-down truck is a particularly popular sight with those that happen to pass by, with Sullivan estimating somewhere around 1,000 photos of the car being taken every day, and if he ever gets bored with the car, he can just flip it over and still looks okay. Number 5. Hot Tub Cadillac. The hot tub time machine was such a success, so why not add some wheels? That was probably the thought that motivated the creation of Hot Tub Cadillac, a probably hygienic water bath capable of reaching temperatures of 102 degrees while traveling 100 miles an hour. Who am I thinking and who am I kidding? Not tubes are never hygienic, wheels are not. These moving bubble baths was designed by Phil Walker and Duncan Forster, two LA-based engineers that has built the original prototype at Canada's McMaster University during what we can only assume was a completely drug-free break from studies. Years later, they once again found themselves inspired by that bacteria-filled invention and began transforming a 1968 Cadillac Coupe de Ville into a moving health violation. The rest we hope for was history. Most of you are probably wondering why anybody would want to invent a hot tub on wheels, but the answer is pretty clear. To break world records in 2014, Walker and Forster drove the vehicle along the Utah's Bonneville Speedway. In order to break the land speed record for the world's fastest hot tub, it's a tight contest apparently. Number 4. Extreme Super Truck. Sure, super trucks are already pretty extreme, but when the wheels are as big as a human person, that takes things to a whole new level. Most of us have reluctantly accepted that Transformers don't actually exist in real life. But if they did, they probably look like one of these. These 10-foot tall trucks are built by designer Chris Walker at his warehouse. Extreme Super Truck and are tailor-made to the client's existing exacting specifications. That means that if you want to have a minibar in the right rear fender, you probably will get a minibar in the right rear fender. Legal? Maybe not. Fun? Always. These trucks are almost twice the size of a typical pickup truck and nearly 6 feet longer on average, and they're entirely drivable, capable of pulling 2,500 pounds and driving at speed over 100 miles per hour. But all of this custom joy comes into a steep cost. On average, this car comes in a price about $90,000 and $250,000. That's a lot of money for a vehicle that could steamroll just about every other vehicle. But for a Transformer, it's worth the cost. Number 3. Submarine Sports Car. It seems every man wants to be James Bond, whether he will admit it or not. And now apparently even car designers are talking inspirations from 007's legendary rides. One designer got the idea to create a fully functioning submarine sports car, much like the one band used in The Spy Who Loved Me. But you never know when you need to speed away at a reasonable speed and depth of water. The submarine sports car is basically designed to give you the experience of drowning without actually doing so much like the Bond classic. The car floats when it drives into the water, and then, with the use of a lever is propellers at the rear. The car is capable of moving at a speed of 2 knots and can see depths of 30 feet, and for those that aren't claustrophobic, you can even stay underwater for an hour. Thanks to the scuba tanks, it's nice to know that if any of us happen to have $2 million on hand and feel like taking an underwater dive for a few hours, the option is there for us. Why we would ever feel like doing so is a whole other thing. Number 2. Ecto-1. When there's something weird in your neighborhood, there's only one thing to do: Ghostbusters. For most of us movie buffs, there are few vehicles as beloved as the Ecto-1. the car of choice for New York City's most famous extraterrestrial exterminators. Most of us, however, probably wouldn't go to the effort of building a realistic replica of the legendary car, unwilling to get the most minor detail wrong. Ohio resident Lauren Baldwin spent 8 years hunting down the car from the movie. Eventually locating the same 1959mm vehicle was the basis of the movie version. After another 2 years of hunting for other parts, Baldwin was finally ready to construct his love letter to the busters, working with local businesses to gather all of the necessary details and saving about $80,000 in the process. The end result is an incredibly faithful recreation of the whole movie car, complete with a storage tank, working lights, and even the exact same siren as the film. While he does apparently enjoy driving the car around for fun, Baldwin most likely drives the car for charity and celebratory events. Boston makes everybody feel good. And on the top of our list, we have the TRUCKTOPUS. Full warning, the name TRUCKTOPUS is a lot more exciting than what it actually is. An 8-wheeled pickup truck. The TRUCKTOPUS is not just a minor tune-up, of course, but at the end result of 20-something years of hard work by Steve Francis, a Tennessee towing company owner, pretty much every aspect of the truck has been tweaked in some way. With a body lowered, new wheels, and souped-up engine, and something called suicide doors, it's less exciting than it sounds. All of that's led to the extraordinary creation, which was unsurprisingly a big hit at car and motor shows all over America. With a name like TRUCKTOPUS, it's obvious why people journey from around the world to see it. It's pretty weird to like most of the people to have transformed their vehicles into wildly unique creations. Francis has been pulled over by the police purely because they want a selfie with the car. Well, it's good to know the law enforcement have their priorities in order. Which of these strangest cars would you most like to take a ride in? Let us know in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.